So data definition language has to do with create, alter, drop. Data control language simply has to do with grant, revoke. These are the ones we are going to look at. If I drop this table, that means I am deleting everything. But look at, let me still use another data manipulation language, and you see the difference between that one and the drop. So I can say delete from emp1. Once I say delete from emp1, now I'm not putting anywhere clause. So I'm going to delete everything. Delete from emp1, I'm deleting everything. So I'm going to return it back to how it was before. When I execute, see, it's done. I commit. If I run this again, nothing is inside, but my table structure is still there. Employee ID, first name, last name, salary, right? It's still there. So I have used delete, which is not, that one is data manipulation. Now, I am going to alter this, my table. I want to add another column to it. I want to add another column. I want to add the email column to it. So I will just come here. I'll come here. And then I will use the alter keyword. Alter. Are you with me? Alter table. Emp1. This is the table. Alter table emp1. Add email. So I'm adding another column now called email. Then I'm going to define the data type. Data type is varchar. So, and then I'm going to state maybe, let's say 20. So I terminate. That is just it. That is how you alter a table. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Now I'm going to add additional column now, which is what? Email column. So alter table emp1, add email, and the data type is varchar2. So I'm going to execute it. Done. Now when I run this again now, can you see? And I have employee ID, first name, last name, salary, email. So if I'm going to populate it again now by using this insert, because I now have this email column, and in this my insert, there is no email column. So if I run this, what will it give me? See? Not enough values. Can you see? It's giving me an error of not enough values, meaning I did not state the value for the email column. So I have to come here and say, also select that from the email, because there is email column from the employee table. So when I do this, so I run it again. You see, it has populated it. Can you see that? So I populated my table again. So I created the table, I altered the table, and then I inserted things into the table. So the class we are doing now today is data definition language. In that data definition language, we have create, alter, and then the last one is drop. So I'm going to drop this employee table now. When I did delete, it deleted everything from the employee table, but I still had the table structure, meaning the house was still standing. Now I want to completely remove everything. I want to demolish the house, so that if anybody comes again, the person will not see the house standing there again. So all I just need to do is, I'll just come here and I'll say drop table emp. So I'm dropping this table. See, it's done. Now the table does not exist again. So let's query for the table. This is the table, right? Let's query. Let's select something from it, and you see the error it will give you. Now, can you see the error? An error was encountered performing the requested operation. Table or view does not exist because I've demolished it completely. That's the difference between the drop and delete. In delete, I removed the data inside the table, but the table structure was still existing. While in drop, I demolished the house completely, so the table does not exist again. So trying to query for a non-existing table is now throwing you an error. Do you understand? We have altered, then we have dropped. So we created a table, we inserted data into the table, we altered that table, and then we dropped the table. Now we want to look at the grant and revoke. You see this HR schema is because all this select that I'm doing is because the uh, the access has been granted to this user. That's why it's able to do all those things. Now I'm going to use more than one user now. So there's another user which is the Scott schema. So this is Scott. Now I am going to go into Scott. So I'm going to open Scott. Now I'm now in Scott. This is a different user. Now, when you are in a different table, in a different schema, and you want to access an object inside another schema, you have to state that schema name before the object name. So I am going to do that now. So I will say select star from, then I will say HR dot employees. Then I will terminate. So I am now in Scott schema. Can you see this is Scott schema? So I want to select from the employee table, which is in the HR schema. So HR dot employee. So this employee is in the HR schema. Now when I execute it to throw me an error, watch. Now it's telling me table of view does not exist, meaning this table of view does not exist. That is because it has not been given the right to access this schema. So I'm going to go to the HR schema and I'm going to grant access to this Scott user to be able to access this employee table that is in the HR schema. Are you with me? So I'm going to come back to this HR schema. This is HR schema. So I'm going to grant access to that Scott user. Are you with me? So I want it to do the select command. So I'm going to say grant select. So I'm granting select command access. Are you with me? So I'm saying grant select on employees, right, to Scott. Then I terminate. So I am granting access to Scott, which is the Scott user, to be able to access the employees table. So grant select on employees to Scott. So I will execute it. So that is done, right? That access has been granted. Now we'll go back to Scott schema. Now I'm going to execute this now. Select star from HR.employees. When I execute it, can you see? Now I can access it. It didn't give me error. Because I have gone to the HR schema and I've granted access to this guy to be able to come in. So you can come in. So this is like giving somebody a visa to travel to another country. Are you with me? So if I did not grant access, he will not be able to come. So this is like giving somebody a visa to travel from one country to another country. So this Scott user is able to access information in the HR schema because this right has been granted to it. I can revoke this right by going back to the HR schema again and revoking the right. So I can come back to the HR schema, which is the second one, the second data control language. Yes? Go ahead. Yes. Yes. Now this Scott too also has his own table. Look at this Scott. Look at his own table now. Scott also has his own. So, you know, the schema is like different states. A database is like Nigeria. You see, I'm still coming to the concept of networking and internetworking that I explained to you earlier. You know, I talked to you about networking and internetworking. I said Nigeria, the states are like the various network. And then when you combine these different states together to form Nigeria, Nigeria is the internetworking, which is the internet. That is the concept of internet. Are you with me? Now, this schema is the same concept. So this schema is like the different states. So the HR schema is like Lagos State. The Scott schema is like Abuja. Now, I now want somebody in Abuja to be able to access, to come into Lagos. I need to grant the person access. So, and I said it is like different countries. So if you want to travel from one country to another country and you need a visa to get to that country, so giving you that visa is granting you access to go. So what did I do? I came to the HR schema and I granted the Scott user access to be able to access a particular table in the HR schema. So the Scott user is not going to access all the tables. So if in this Scott schema now, I try to access department, I say select star from department, then I terminate. Watch. You see, to throw me an error because I didn't grant access to this Scott schema to access the department table in the HR schema. I only granted access, or if I did not even put HR dot, you run it again, still going to give you error because I didn't grant access. But if I go to the employee HR schema and then grant access to Scott user to be able to access the department table, when I run this to be able to access it. So that is granting access. Now I granted access to the Scott schema in the HR schema to access the employee table. Now I want to go and revoke that right. Now these are the tables for the Scott schema, bonus, department, emp. These are the tables that it has in his own schema. So I come here, HR. This is the HR schema. So I want to revoke that right that I granted to the Scott schema. So I'm going to revoke that right. Revoke. Are you with me? Select. I'm revoking the select right that I gave on employees from Scott. So you can see when I granted, then I terminate. When I grant, it is grant select on employees to Scott. Revoke select on employees from Scott. So when I execute this, see, now it's done. So when I go back to Scott and I try to access it again, it will throw me an error telling me that the table does not exist, meaning I can't access it. So I'm not seeing this table because what he's doing is that he's checking within his own network, within his own schema for this table. He didn't see it, and there is nobody linking him again to anything outside. But when I granted that access, then there was now a connection between the Scott schema and the HR schema. So when the Scott user was looking for data in a particular in the employee table, he checked within himself. He didn't see that table. He now had to check the link that is connecting him to another table to see that is this HR, are you the one that owns this employee table? HR will say yes. Please give me the data. I am requested to bring it. And then HR will release it because HR has granted that access to the Scott user. So that is how it works. Now, this is the same concept with networking that you hear about. So everything is interrelated. Now, what am I trying to say to you? If you are using a Glo network and I'm using MTN network, if you want to dial my number, there is a link between Glo and MTN that is doing that switch. But if you are using a Glo network and I'm also using a Glo network, you call me on Glo network, we are within the same network. That is networking. So there is no point going out. The charges will be different. But if you are calling me that is an MTN network, it means that Glo will have to communicate with MTN and say, I'm trying to reach this person in your network. Please link me to the person. That same concept is what we are having in this database that we are looking at. So HR schema represents the Glo network. The Scott schema represents the MTN network. Now, dialing themselves requires an equipment in between to give that access. Are you with me now? Are you getting the picture? So that is basically it. So this is what I wanted. This is probably where we are going to round up this this series. Like I said, I will introduce you into Python. I will have to pause for now. I will come back to introduce you into the Python. My YouTube channel is open. My Facebook channel page is open. You can always connect to it, and then keep watching the videos that are there. Share the videos. Let other people watch and learn from it.